Good morning, Scotland. Good morning, social media land. I hope you are well. It is Tuesday, the 3rd of June 2025. What if the most powerful vote in Scottish politics is the one that is most misunderstood? What if loyalty to the movement means doing something different with your second vote? Not because you're disloyal, but because you want to win. Because in 2026 we have a choice. We can treat the second vote like an echo, or we can treat it like a weapon. And this is where it gets uncomfortable, because many will say that voting for any other party than the present Scottish Government on the list is betrayal. But what if it's strategy? What if it's exactly what the independence movement needs? I'm a loyal SNP member. I will be voting SNP with my constituency vote, no question. But I also believe that independence is the goal, and that every tool, every seat, every strategy should serve that goal. Because this isn't about party dominance, it's about national liberation. And the second vote is part of the plan, if we're brave enough to use it. The way Scotland elects its parliament was designed to reflect proportionality. It is called the additional member system, and while it can feel confusing, the logic behind it is straightforward. We elect 73 MSPs through constituency votes, the same first-past-the-post system used in Westminster. Then we elect another 56 MSPs across 8 regions using list votes. These are meant to top up parties that didn't win many constituency seats. This means the more constituency seats a party wins, the fewer list seats they're likely to receive. I've made videos explaining how this calculation works many times, and people always come back saying that it's wrong, but it's not, because the proof of the matter is currently sitting in the description of this video. And I dare you to go and look at it, because that is the actual training tool, the teaching tool that the Scottish Government has given out to allow people at schools to learn about the additional member system. The goal of the system is to make the final result more balanced and reflective of the national vote. In practice, it means that when the SNP dominates the constituency vote, when it does in most regions, the second vote often returns 0 or very limited additional MSPs for the party. This isn't because anyone is doing something wrong, and it's just how the system works. And it means that hundreds of thousands of second votes for the SNP in past elections haven't elected a single additional pro-independence voice. Maybe one, maybe two. And that is a hard truth to bear, especially when every one of those votes was cast in good faith and with loyalty to the cause. But once we understand how the system works, we have a responsibility to think about how best to use it. Not because we're abandoning the SNP, but because we're trying to strengthen the movement. When second votes go to a party that is already sweeping in the constituencies, they don't often translate into seats, and that opens the door for unionist parties to dominate the list, even when they've been rejected in the constituencies. In 2021, we saw it happen again. Thousands of list votes for the SNP in regions like Lothian, Highlands and Islands and North East returned no MSPs. Meanwhile, the Scottish Tories and Labour, despite losing the constituency races, picked up list seats in droves. And now Reform UK is entering the picture, rising in the polls and looking to sweep list seats by default if we don't act strategically. They're not interested in devolution. They want to dismantle Holyrood from the inside out. Do we really want to see them sitting across from an SNP government because we weren't brave enough to talk about our strategy? This is why we need to start talking honestly and without fear. Imagine what Holyrood could look like if we used every part of the system to our advantage. Imagine a parliament where the SNP leads a pro-independence government and where the opposition benches are filled not by Tories or Labour. Their seats would be minimalised. Even reforms could be minimalised. We fill those seats with other pro-independence MSPs. The Greens, ALPA, ISP, independents who share the national goal. Each with different ideas, different policies, each with different styles, but all united on one thing: the belief that Scotland should govern itself. While we have unionist parties dominating the opposition, they will always shout down our pro-Scottish government. We need to strengthen Holyrood and dominate the opposition ourselves. That kind of parliament would send a message to Westminster, but more importantly, it would send a message to the people of Scotland that this movement is bigger than one political entity, that it's mature enough to debate, to disagree, but still move forward, that it's serious about independence, and that it knows how to play the game and win. Let's be clear, voting SNP on the list is not wrong for some. Many have done it for years with pride and belief. But movements grow, strategies evolve, and the second vote has the potential to amplify the cause if we're willing to think differently. We're not being asked to pick a side. We're being asked to think like a movement. No one is saying the SNP isn't the driving force of this campaign. What we are saying is they can't and they shouldn't do it alone, because independence has always been bigger than any one party, bigger than a Green MSP, an ALPA MSP, an ISP MSP. If they believe in independence, they are not the enemy. They are allies that just wave a different flag. We don't have to agree on every policy, but if we agree on Scotland's right to self-determination, then we're part of the same team. And the second vote gives us a way to build a stronger team. The only betrayal is silence. The only failure is fear. 2026 will be more than just another election. It will be a test of maturity, a test whether we are ready to act like the nation we claim to be. We need as many pro-independence voices in Holyrood, as many pro-Scottish MSPs that we can put in there, not just to pass laws, but to dominate our own Scottish Parliament. We are diverse, we are principled, we are determined, and we do know how to organise. But if we can't build a strategic Parliament, how can we expect people to believe we are ready for full statehood? The message has to be clear. The cause is what unites us, not the colour of the rosette. We must challenge the fear that stops good people from thinking tactically. We must rise above the noise and do what every liberation movement in history has had to do: organise with discipline. This is how we win. This is how we take back control. And this is how we ensure that Holyrood reflects not just what we're voting against, but what we're building for. We've never been closer to winning, but that means we must be smarter than we've ever been. The second vote is not sentimental. It is not ceremonial. It is tactical. It is a chance to secure more voices, more momentum, and more power in Holyrood, all working towards the same goal. Let the politicians go and play at being politicians in Holyrood. Once they're in, let them go and argue. But it's demonstrable that it's the will of the Scottish people that we want independent voices there if we vote them in. Would you not rather see ALPA or ISP or the Greens debating the SNP, knowing that their values are to take Scotland to independence, regardless of how they feel about policy? That makes far more sense than having any of the Tory parties there, any of the MSPs from Labour coming back on the list, and certainly not having any reform there, is something that we truly need to consider. The bigger picture, the national cause, and using your second vote strategically.